doctor, and it's currently just about 7 o'clock on Tuesday evening, the 21st of April. And I want to do today's daily recap of events that affect how you get, protect, and enjoy your money, your life, and your retirement. Well, another $484 billion. Who'll get to see it? We're going to answer that question in just a few minutes. But for now, one of the biggest things that's occurring is obviously the COVID situation. Right now, the U.S. cases are over 820,000 cases. Over 44,000 deaths so far in just the last 3 months. However, 75,000 have recovered from the illness. So that's a whole whopping 9%. It's not great, but it's certainly some good news. New York State had 258,000 cases, 18.8 thousand deaths, and of that, New York City itself had 14.6 thousand deaths. New Jersey continues to hold the second spot with 89.9 thousand cases and 4,600 deaths, a little over 4,600 deaths. The numbers keep growing every day, but the rate of the deaths is starting to slow down, which is encouraging. Again, each case represents an individual, okay, that's been affected. Not only has that individual been affected, but their families and the community in general. And it's easy to spout these numbers, but each one of these numbers is an individual person. And that seems to get lost pretty easily when I run off about the numbers. And I try not to lose that, but again, these are real people. And if you or your family's been impacted, you understand the severity of that. If you're in one of those states that almost nobody's been affected, I'm glad for you. But there's a lot of states that people are affected, and that's what's happening right now. A lot of the people that are happening, it's happening in nursing homes. These older population, tons of pre-existing conditions generally, and they're getting hit really hard. Illinois governor had 25% of all the COVID cases and all the deaths in his state in Illinois were in nursing homes. Louisiana's 436 nursing homes have 201 of the reported cases, and a third of the deaths, at 403 deaths, just in the state's nursing homes. In Brooklyn, a couple days ago, 90 residents of just 2 nursing homes died of COVID. 68 residents, and not only residents, but the nursing staff themselves, both in New Jersey, have died from COVID, again, in a nursing home. 24 residents in Madison County, Indiana, in a nursing home there, have died. 10 have died in Athens, Georgia, in a nursing home. Right now, still, if you get COVID, you got about a 20% chance of getting hospitalized. If you get COVID right now, you got about a 10% chance of ending up in an ICU. Healthcare workers are getting this on the front end big time. Okay, of all the reported cases, about 10 to 20% of them are healthcare workers. Doctors, nurses, respiratory therapists, nursing and home health aides, as well as the janitors and the security guards. All these people are involved in patient care in some way, shape, or form. And they're all at risk, and they're all getting sick. And again, basically 10 to 20% of them, of all the cases, are in that group of people. The next group with big numbers, obviously, are the store clerks. Okay, the guys getting paid 10, 11 bucks an hour to stock shelves and to check you out when you hit the grocery at the checkout line, the cash register there. And the problem at all the stores, is that to this day, with all the news that's going on, still 85% of the customers are not social distancing, and they're not wearing masks. Less than 50% are wearing masks. When you go out, wear a mask. Okay. Don't change your behavior to avoid infection. Assume you're actually infected, and change your behavior to avoid transmission. Again, you've got a good 14 to 20 days that you can be totally asymptomatic, not showing any signs at all, but still carrying the virus and still passing it around. Again, coughing and sneezing, 6-8 feet, that travels no problems at all. Just breathing, though. New England Journal of Medicine did a study. Just breathing, just talking. You can spread droplets easy, 2 to 3 feet. Just talking, not doing anything specific. Now, the transit workers in New York City are getting wiped out here. Them, the police and fire departments, okay, tons of deaths, tons of sicknesses, and it affects their jobs. They've only got so many people there to run the trains and the buses, so many people to run the squad cars, so many people to staff those fire departments. Who's on to go on those engines and ladders? Okay, who's handling EMT calls, the first responder calls? The bus drivers are another group. Okay, not only in New York City, but just about wherever. Okay, they're exposed. People coming on their bus, and they're not covering their mouths. They're not wearing masks. What a surprise! The bus driver is at risk. For every passenger that goes on this bus, walks past the bus driver. They're not wearing masks. That bus driver is at severe risk. Postal workers, UPS, FedEx, Amazon, delivery people, they're all getting affected. Again, all these people deal with tons of different things. All those packages and letters that they've delivered, they were handled by someone somewhere along the way. Their chances of getting sick have increased dramatically. Food processing plants still, South Dakota, Iowa, Colorado, Georgia, Pennsylvania, these people are all infected. Okay? Again, they work close to each other. It's hard, if not impossible, to social distance. And again, they're carrying this for a week, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks before they show signs. And then when they show signs, they go to get tested. It could be another 2 days before they get tested, test results back. How many people have they seen in that period of time? Their individual families when they go home. Anybody they go out with, okay, to the store. Their co-workers. All these people are at risk. And you're starting to see disruptions in the food chain. It's just a matter of time. And the president wants to shut down, okay, the immigration. He's been trying to shut down immigration ever since he got in the office. But you talk to the farmers, they don't have the staff, the migrant workers, to come and pick the vegetables. They're plowing stuff under. One, because they've got nobody to pick the vegetables. Two, because they've got no way to transport it to somebody who's going to buy it. A lot of their stuff went to restaurants before. Restaurants are shut down right now. This is having a major effect all the way up and down the food chain. I mean, the country is really tired of being shut down, and I understand that. Families as well as individuals and thousands of small businesses are crumbling from the continued financial strain. There's a constant big push to open a country, primarily coming from the president inside the Oval Office. And it's compounded by the talking heads on cable TV. It's certainly not helped by his tweets, liberate this state, liberate that state. Okay. More and more residents are protesting stay-at-home orders in Colorado, Illinois, Florida, Tennessee, and Washington State, all being spurred on by the president's political supporters. Some of the governors are talking about opening the states even though they don't meet the White House's recommendations. The White House recommendations the other day, 2 weeks downtrend in cases before lifting measures. But no, even with that, the president's still tweeting out, liberate this state, liberate the other state, and they're inciting these people to go and do these protests. It's an amazing thing. And should the states open, and then there's a problem, the president's going to hang those governors out in a second to be twisted in the wind all by themselves, and he's going to deny any responsibility. He's been stirring a pot from the background. What a surprise. Remember, the puppet masters. Power and money. That's what they want, power and money. And they pull the strings for everybody else, and these people unwittingly do their bidding. Now, every daily briefing he has, he runs off about what a great job he's doing, especially with the testing right now. And the number of tests they're getting out the door every day. And if you pay really, really close attention to what's being said. Okay, when you're not being lied to directly, you're being severely misled. The president came on the other day, and was running off about all the places the governors could get their tests processed. And the labs were all available to process these tests. They're all over the place. He's got maps and charts and phone numbers available for the governors. That's really, really nice. That sounds lovely. And you think that, God, he's doing a great job. And then what you didn't hear him say was that the governors could actually get the testing done. They could get it processed. They couldn't get it done. Now, back in the real world, with both Republicans and Democratic governors, both freely saying that the materials to do the test, the cotton swabs, the Q-tips, and the reagents, the liquid chemicals that you put the swab into afterwards, after you collect the sample, okay, they're just not available. Okay, and the president continues to say, well, it's up to the governors to do the testing. Well, the Republican governor of Maryland cut a backroom deal through his wife's connection, because she's South Korean, to get 500,000 tests from South Korea. He's on his own, doing his thing. He's getting these tests. That's great, because he couldn't get them from the government. He had to go cut a backroom deal and have them flown in from South Korea. But in the president's briefing the other day, he slams the governors, showing them the chart where all the testing can get done. All the testing can get analyzed, not actually done. And the story hasn't changed. The president takes absolutely no responsibility for anything. It's always somebody else's fault. Okay? He continues to refuse to use the Defense Production Act. He signed it, made a big deal that he signed it, and he used it for just a little tiny thing to get ventilators. Well, the nice thing is right now that because of all the social distancing, because of people wearing masks and everything else, that lo and behold, the hospital system hasn't completely crashed. It came close. It came exceptionally close. People were really, really stressed out. They're still stressed out. But the hospital system has held up. They've held the numbers down far enough that the hospital system has not crashed. Okay. But the testing, okay, is not there. And the Defense Production Act that he used was for the ventilators. He hasn't taken control of the supply line for the swabs and the reagents and the personnel to do the actual testing. That hasn't changed. Now, most people that are protesting stay-at-home orders are diehard Trump supporters, and I don't have a problem with that. You want to love the president, no problem. Okay, they're not social distancing in the protests. They're not wearing masks of any significant numbers. And whenever you see the videos, I don't make this stuff up. There's the videos of these people out there protesting. And almost every one of them, you see multiple people standing there. They're strapped with sidearms, and they're carrying AK Type 47 weapons to demonstrate their manhood. I mean, did they miss something? Most of these people didn't actually serve in the service, but they liked their weapons. Again, I was in a Coast Guard from 71 through 76, the tail end of Vietnam. Okay, I understand what's going on. Okay, I've got no problem with weapons. I have a problem with a bunch of yahoos strapping weapons in public for no particular reason whatsoever. And you know what? The 45 or 38 they've got strapped on, plus the AK-47 they got slung over their shoulder, okay, that's not going to help them against the virus. It won't touch the virus. It's an amazing thing. Okay? Now, most of these people will deny that the virus actually exists. They all think it's part of the media. They're overblowing everything. And then when you interview some other people, they acknowledge the virus actually exists, and they think it's a real thing, but they're protected by some higher power. And the government just went too far with those shutdown orders. Well, it gets really interesting at this point, because it doesn't take a lot of brain power to sit in the sidelines and make a lot of noise and criticize. However, when you ask these people one very simple question, what would you do to protect the lives of your fellow citizens and your own family? An amazing thing happens. They have very little to say. Nothing substantive. All they can do is regurgitate all the talking points that they've heard from cable TV heads. I mean, it's not too difficult to do. That's why, when somebody actually leads, they do things. Okay? People on the sidelines don't do things. Remember when we used to have football games, baseball games? Okay. Just a couple months ago. It wasn't all that long ago, just a couple months ago. And they have maybe a dozen, 2 dozen players on the field. But thousands of people in the stands, cheering and jeering. But it's the players on the field that are making the difference. All these people, okay, with all these protests, that's lovely, exercise your right. I like protests, okay. I'm from the 60s and 70s. I used to protest, okay. But do you have some substantive alternative? You don't like these things, fine. What are you going to do about it that's going to be different? That's going to have an impact? They don't have that, okay. Now, that's why I always tell people, okay, spend some time with your mind. Question yourself, okay. Question what you say, question what you do. Amazing things will happen if you do it honestly. Shut the news off. Spend some time with your mind. Question, are your words and actions along with your basic core values? Are your basic core values in line with the rest of the world and society? That might be something to consider. Now, the markets today, they're bouncing up and down, no big deal, okay? It's going to be a really long slog back up that hill. Might not be at the bottom yet, but it's nowhere near the top, and it's not going to get there for quite a while. Oil futures went negative yesterday for the first time in history. People text message me on Facebook, you know, what's going on? It's negative. And what that means is that instead of paying $30, $40 a barrel to buy oil, people that have the oil were paying up to $40 a barrel for you to take it from them. They were giving it away and going to pay you an additional $40 a barrel to take it. Okay. The problem is that there's so much oil right now, they didn't want to take delivery because it was cheaper to give it to you, pay you to take it, than for them to accept it and try and store it. That's why the markets went negative yesterday. Okay. Now another question for the day actually is another $484 billion. Who's going to see it? Will you see it? I don't know. Another $484 billion. Yes, the new PPP bill was just approved by the Senate, expected to be signed by the President sometime relatively soon. Another $484 billion. It's a lot of money. Hopefully, some of that is going to get to actual small businesses, because Harvard University was obviously having a terrible time surviving. They have a $40 billion endowment, but they're going to receive $8.7 million of the federal PPP aid from the original bill. This is why the mom and pop operations are falling by the wayside. People like Harvard, Ruth Chris, okay, large places are getting this money. Now, the people that I've been working with, when I was working, the few select individuals, the mom and pops, the startups, the small businesses with 0 to 6 employees, their life has been upended through absolutely no fault of their own. Most people's plan A has been shot to hell right now. It's difficult to think about a plan B when you're wondering how you're actually going to survive the current situation. However, in every time that there's a crisis, most people find a way to recover. Some actually thrive. Now, I want to help, and I'm putting together a special masterclass, a training called Recovery. How to survive, recover, and thrive in troubling times. I'm going to do this live this Thursday around noontime. Okay. For more information and to register, go to the training. For the training, go to drrousenow.com/recovery. Again, for more information and to register for the training, go to drrousenow.com/recovery. Now, I'll post a link to it when I post this video tomorrow on my YouTube channel, which is The Real Money Doctor. Now, I appreciate you being here. Okay? I look forward to spending some time with you. I've had a good time here. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow around 7 o'clock if we're lucky. I'm Dr. Fred Rouse, The Real Money Doctor. My only goal is to help you get, protect, and enjoy your money, your life, and your retirement. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you.